artist and stuff. I'm pretty sure.
What do you mean you're a pickup
I'm a pickup. I'm pretty sure I can.
Fucking disgusting scum of the earth.
Have you ever seen a magician showing you how the trick is done before doing the trick?
I mean, what time is it?
I don't have a watch.
What's your favorite restaurant? What do you like to eat? Where are you from?
Are you guys learning anything?
Have you ever bragged about being able to piss while standing up?
But you like shopping.
I've taught Intisar and I've seen him doing this for real on the street. He's a badass.
Well, this is exactly how I feel about pickup artistry in mainstream and public displays, how it should be done. You know, announcing your presence like a supernatural pussy magnet.
Yes, but where you keep this magnet?
Well, that just forces everyone else near your vicinity for you to miserably fail. Oh, those pickup artists. A word nowadays associated with cringe. It might even send shivers down your spine.
The cock blocker we gotta watch out for is ourselves. It's the girls we think it's the time.
But believe it or not, the art of picking up women, and by extension, putting your phone down and actually socializing, is more prevalent today than ever before. In this video, we dive deep into the history and intricacies of the world of pickup artists. We'll explore how it reached the mainstream, how it all began, and suddenly, poof, like in an instant, it disappeared out of relevance. With the finale of season 2 of the VH1 TV series The Pickup Artist.
A man who goes by only one name.
Mystery.
This here is not just documentary, it's also a personal story. Because believe it or not, I am also a former pupil of seduction. In 2009, I was a social outcast. At least what women were concerned. 20 years old, I had found no success in the department of girls. The closest interaction with a woman I had had at this point in time was coming out of my mother's womb. A few awkward dates here and there, and my god, this deserves another video on its own. Like, have you ever been on a 1-hour date while saying less than 10 words? I have, but at least I practiced some social skills, at least through MSN, an ancient fossil of the internet. Then, in the deepest parts of the internet, between wondering if my penis is too small and requires surgery, or having no muscles and requiring steroids, I stumbled on a forum about pickup artists and a book. This book, Penetrating the Secret Society of Pickup Artists by Neil Strauss. It's actually very lovely. Ironically, my girlfriend bought me the copy of this book in 2012 because I had lost mine somewhere in 2010. But this book here and VH1 TV series The Pickup Artist actually changed my life.
Mystery.
But first, a bit of history about the PUA. Modern pickup artistry actually began in the 70s, with the 1967 publication of this book, The Art of an Erotic Seduction, by psychotherapists Albert Ellis and Roger Conway, and in the 1970s publication of this book, How to Pick Up Girls, by Eric Weber. This kinda gave this secret society a wider reach and attention, of course. These were basically guides how to meet women. A guide of endorsement. You can do it, little Jimmy. You can get some action too. Let's get some. Like nowadays, it was also a question of morality too. And Albert Ellis actually addressed this in the first chapter of the book, mentioning that seduction, even though a form of persuasion, does not equal forcing someone against their will into anything. Force and threats are not in the book of the PUA. No threats here, it's fairly safe. Lies, on the other hand, well, we come to that later on. Jordan Peterson actually described pickup artists as psychopaths. Well, not word for word, but the psychopathic was thrown around.
The girl's irrelevant to the goal insofar as she could be another girl. So it's a psychopathic goal in some ways. And all they ever do is come up with, it's like a whole horde of men talking about how to deceive and manipulate women. It's extraordinarily interesting and extremely psychopathic. And also it's very, 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 very unsophisticated and unskilled.
Deceiving and manipulating. Just as easily, he could have used the word narcissistic. Because man with a hardwired goal coded deep into the DNA, of getting laid is egotistical. It's a form of framing. Not all men seek help to get their tallywhackers polished. It's also about the companionship. Finding someone to spend the rest of your life with. Is learning the tools to do so, or learning the tools to communicate, psychopathic? Well, let's find out. The art of picking up women is usually done using neurolinguistic. It's basically neurolinguistic programming. As you hear it, it might sound that, oh my god, this is a talk of a villain. It's a scheme. But it's actually purely unconscious reaction of human nature. Picking up verbal and non-verbal cues to determine if the person is of value or a potential mate. It's subconscious. It's a built-in mechanism of validation. Nearly 93% of communication is non-verbal, and only 7% is spoken word. But that doesn't mean that you can say stupid shit and fumble like an idiot. Being able to stand out in the sea of desperate men seeking love wasn't always the only way to get the girl, a girl that you want. And standing out doesn't always mean that you need to have the looks or money, but it helps tremendously.
Well, what color's your brigade?
But in the world of seduction, you only need to have game. And the good news is that this is totally trainable. You can learn it and find success. For years now, I have watched Charlie, Penguin C0. I love his content, and he's very into the lore of pickup artists. He finds the best cringe and sadness-filled clips about pickup artists scamming money from unsuspecting victims, taking the money straight out of the pockets of incels who still live in their mother's basements. He has also covered a lot of self-proclaimed experts of pussy magnetism.
This guy looks like he'd be in Final Fantasy XIV as an NPC. I like that this guy's got like low-level armor from an MMO on right now. This is a pickup artist class, but your small little dick probably doesn't know about that. These classes will turn you into a champion of the male species. This will teach you how to go outside and get pussy immediately, sodden panties within a 1-mile radius just because you left your house. Now that's a checkmate. She is going home with him tonight. That vagina is super wet, you can already just tell. But be attracted to this man due to his suave, his debonair, his incredible wordplay. It's just he's hitting all the right notes. Oh my goodness, it's amazing to watch a master at work like this. And it's so obvious that the only reason she's able to fight back the urge to just sit on his face and ride his tongue like a bicycle is because she's getting paid to sit there, and it would be unprofessional to do that in front of the whole class.
Every time he covers PUA content, even 6 years back, I cringe with him. I clench my teeth and feel like I'm holding my farts in. I feel for those simpletons, starting their journeys. A road to moistness under the most weirdest scammers alive. Saying stupid things and listening to those pupils fumbling their pickup lines is something that I didn't sign up for when starting using the internet. But Lord and behold, for this exact reason, picking up women and filming this nonsense.
Okay, now I'm going to be really brave. I'm going to push myself to go and say hello. Just want to meet you and say you're lovely. I'll talk to that one in the green, Daniel. She looks Russian. She's lovely. Excuse me. Hi, nice to meet you. I'm Jonathan. All right, have a nice day. Thank you.
Oh my goodness, it's amazing to watch a master at work like this.
Those weird and costly boot camps has opened the floodgates of cringe and destroyed everything secret about this society and somewhat even the validity of pickup artistry overall. But calling it a society sounds dumb as well. It's not like they wear red or white hoods, gathering around the campfire at night to contemplate on the next vaginal conquest. Subculture sounds more accurate. So we come to the point now where I got this book. The first book, not this one per se. Neil Strauss had written an in-depth, personal, somewhat controversial exploration of the subculture of pickup artists that emerged in the early 2000s. Published in 2005, the game became the bestseller and significantly influenced the discussions on dating, also psychology and social dynamics. Strauss initially inspired to explore PUA's community to overcome his own insecurities and frustrations with dating and relationships. His goal evolved from merely observing to actually learning and applying the techniques prompted by various PUAs. Over time, he became part of the community, gaining his own personal PUA nickname, style, and eventually achieving the high-ranking status in the world of pickup artists.
His latest, The Game, details his journey into the secret world of pickup artists. He knows how to do it, and he's here tonight to try to seduce me. Please say hello to Neil Strauss. Now, did you just do something magical to Jessica when you touched her, or was that?
I'm taken now.
You're taken now? Oh, yeah, sure you are.
That's the whole lesson of it, is guys are always begging and pleading and being too available. The best way to get someone is to pretend like you don't want it.
Right?
Yep.
Is that right? You got Britney Spears' phone number, didn't you?
True.
True.
Yes.
And on Jessica, would you mind?
I wouldn't try it on a talk show. I didn't learn talk show game.
Oh, is there a different game?
But here's the thing. Here's the thing. There's this idea that, you know, someone's beautiful, you got to hit on them or something. But in LA, everyone's beautiful. Everyone beautiful comes to LA to try and make it, right? So if you're beautiful, so what? You got lucky in the gene pool, right? So if I was to ask you to name 3 things about yourself that would make me want to get to know you better, and none of them can be about your looks or what you do, what would they be?
I'm loyal.
Right.
Reliable.
Right.
And
I said they can't be about our looks.
And hardworking.
That's awesome, Living. And instead, you kind of got to flip the script, make someone who has absolutely no interest in you start selling themselves to you. And that's like one of the pieces.
As I read this book, I began to understand that socializing with the opposite sex is a playful, not a stiff interaction. You can get the stiff interaction later on. It's not a job interview that needs to end with an intercourse. And although this was the end goal, I learned that the road there is actually fun, and it has to be fun for both parties. It might seem obvious for you now, but I was clueless. But the fun part, before you begin, actually requires some rules. Like in a good movie or a good book, you need a hook, the opener, you need some tension, escalation, and if it was a rom-com, it would have a happy ending. The game also had the main character.
Born Eric von Markovic, Mystery was the ultimate geek, rejected by hundreds of beautiful women.
Girls didn't even know I was alive.
Driven by frustration, he developed a foolproof system for attracting women. Rising to the top of the seduction community, Mystery has been featured in the best-selling book, The Game, and dozens of magazines.
A man who revolutionized and summarized everything you need to know about the art of seduction. He had learned the game by trial and error, and now he was ready to teach others. Peacocking, opening, entering different sets, kino escalation, making women actually validate themselves to you.
I'm loyal, reliable.
He had mastered the suave, the effortlessness of communication. Watching him work was not awkward. It was fun. Girls wanted to hang around him not because he wore a silly hat, not because of his looks, but because of what girls perceived him to be. And here comes the morality part again. Lies. Most pickup artists might encourage you to make up stories, make up stuff, just to be more interesting. But it would always work better if it was natural. The way you told the story, the way to make a boring story interesting. It's being able to speak fluently, being able to stop at the right time, and make you really listen. And of course, adding some spice. After all, we all love good stories and are fascinated with other people's experiences. After finishing the book, I discovered that VH1 had TV series called The Pickup Artist, and full 2 seasons of it. In that show, I actually saw the methods work firsthand. I saw what the book described. I watched those dweebs like me working their asses off to actually learn this stuff. As I watched this series, with the book in my hand, pen and paper in the other, I started mapping out the plan to communicate effortlessly. And can you imagine? Effortless and being confined to remember certain actions in specific order while being able to form sentences and observe the target or a whole 1 or 2 set would not coexist in my head. But this is what you see nowadays. Clips of people making complete buffoons out of themselves.
Well, you're from China.
We're sorry, but we have to go.
In public, may I add. Long way from perfection. Also, one must remember, approaching people in public at the daytime is totally different situation. People in the club are there to be more open to communication or interaction with a stranger. They basically go there for that exact purpose. So to hit the clubs, I needed a wingman. So with my awkward friend by my side, awkward me as well, equipped with 2 sheets of A4 paper filled with science, dressed as a couple of dollar store pimps, we decided to hit the club. And you can imagine feeling like you were confronting a lion while pissing your pants and trying different openers. I don't even remember what openers I used, but I do remember that after zoning out and coming to, I realized that I had failed and failed again. and once more. After a month or two, maybe 5 times of clubbing, hanging out, I could almost hold a conversation a bit. But they always ended because I ran out of stuff to say. You see, to be honest, I had nothing going on in my life. Video games and a broken bed, living in my mother's apartment, sharing a room with my sister, divided with a plastic wall. So being interesting wasn't really my bag. But a few months later, strange things started to happen. I discovered myself at a party where I had attended with my wingman. We had both opened a different force set with total strangers. We were actually talking to people while having fun. I looked over my shoulder, I saw everyone laughing, not at him I hope, and it didn't feel forced. It actually felt exciting. While our evening didn't end with a bang, our endeavors of peacocking prime male specimens of seduction stopped that night. Since my friend left Estonia, and I was without a wingman, a lone soul drifting in the void. But the progress of socializing and learning to communicate actually transferred over to my work environment later on. At that time, I also started weightlifting and put on a significant amount of fat while doing so. They called it the bulking phase. The bulking phase. Yeah, this was me 2 years before the bulk. And this was 2 years later at my heaviest. Lightweight! 88 kilograms of pure maltodextrin. I wasn't in shape, but I felt more confident. So negging girls in the office or outside felt natural. Negging is a form of insult without actually insulting someone. It's a challenge for the opposite sex, who usually receives praises from simps, while you being the odd one out, who actually isn't showing that much interest in her, and showering her with compliments.
Actually, I was trying to get the attention of your more attractive friend, but hey, maybe you'll do.
My favorite line always was, "Geez, you have very masculine hands," while also kind of poking or touching her. So I was also using kinesthetic escalation, which basically familiarized her with my touch. If you don't build the foundation, then the odds of her turning her head away when you try to kiss her actually go up. Being somewhat open and charismatic brought me a lot of success, and I mean a lot. In 2.5 years, I had turned it all around, achieving everything I most wanted. The skills became so natural that I never rely on the game per se, anymore at least. Whenever I felt the conversation dwindling, I changed the subject, asked more, listened more. Actually, caring. Little games here and there, I found what I was actually looking for. And I'm 14 years together now with the same girl. But that's a story for another time. But it involved a 3-set, 2 girls becoming enemies, hookah filled with beer, and 1 guy going to jail. So who was this mystery? Was it all a hoax? Is pickup artistry just a misogynistic, egotistical bunch of gigolos dressed like metrosexual pimps? Or is it an art form of communication? You be the judge. Without paying for a single course, this book and this TV show, without Eric or Neil knowing, changed the course of my life for the better. I hope that you enjoyed this video. If you did, hit that like, smash that bell, and if you dare, subscribe as well. I'm SillyLlamaz, and thanks for watching. Till next time.